Oh lordy, welcome back to another
Burning Bridges, the
episode.
Jeff Bridges cancellation podcast.
I think you just uncoupled my brain. You've got the PCIe strips just plugged into the bag there, and you've just popped them out.
Did that thing where like people put their fucking Nintendo 64 games in the thing and then pull it out a little bit?
Yeah,
It's like, look, it makes it all weird.
that's my brain now.
Yeah, brain's showing me like numbers.
Speaking of like a slight departure, do you know how like in Mario Brothers, there's like the original, like not the arcade one, but the Super Mario Brothers, the
Oh,
platformer.
fantastic feature-length film.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the original game, the hidden one-ups, like the one in the first level after the pipe, you can go down. Those have spawning conditions. And I only just found this out, and it blew my fucking mind. That first one's always toggled to spawn no matter what.
Right.
But like the one in there in the first level of each world, like that one on 3-1 on that, that sort of like little rope bridge.
I'll take your word for it.
But anyway, if you've got to collect all the coins in the previous level, otherwise it won't spawn.
Huh.
And I did not fucking know this. And that's why sometimes I just could never hit it. And I was like, I swear, like, what the fuck?
What's going on? This game's stupid.
And that's mind-blowing. Like,
that is fucking wild.
Because everyone knows the mechanics for that game. And if I said, hey, why isn't that spawning? I bet no one could fucking say. And that blew my mind. It's been a mind-blowing week.
I do appreciate that kind of craftiness. Like, there's not telling people about mysteries is the best way to deliver a mystery.
Absolutely. We have an episode of Round the Twist for you this week called Grandad's Gifts.
That sounds like an Australian term for, like an Australian euphemism for something.
I don't like it.
Yeah, like that could be testicles. It could be animal droppings. Like...
It's Grandad's special sauce.
Well, like, it's like, what do you call the weird piles of horse manure? Oh, Grandad's gifts. I wouldn't even bat an eyelid. I'd just go, okay. You whopped him in the Grandad's gifts. It's like, oh yeah, testicles. Like, I wouldn't even think twice about it. I just go, oh yeah, nuts. Turns out it's neither. Which, I'm a little disappointed.
This is an odd episode.
It is.
It's very unhinged.
Yeah, like, I feel... I'll bring it up more at the end, but this is one of those episodes where I feel like the process of turning it from its own independent short story into a Round the Twist episode didn't do it a lot of favors.
No. So we start off with our opening cut, and the lighthouse is called a light station because it's in oldie times, and this fucking killed me. I don't know why, but light station.
Was it actually called a light station?
It was. I don't know if it. I gotta
look that up because I'm kind of curious. I just assumed always lighthouse, but then
Yeah, because that's where you keep the light.
Yeah,
where it lives.
It's where the light lives.
So light
like I could see it being a light station, but also I don't actually know fucking shit about lighthouses.
They're not common here.
I feel like they're kind of something that's been replaced by GPS and like maps.
Well, I think they still exist in like dangerous points. Like, obviously, where there's big rocks and stuff that you...
Yeah, I mean, like, I know they exist because, like, there's one on Stradbroke Island that I think actually does go off. But I don't know if it's, like... I don't know. Maybe there's stuff... Maybe there are boats and shit out there that don't use, like, the fucking GPS or something.
Oh,
like, someone wants to take that, like, 18th century fucking sailboat out for a fucking spin.
What is the difference between a lighthouse and a light station?
Oh, shit on
me. A lighthouse is the tower itself containing the lantern room with the lens that shines its light. A light station, which is usually onshore but occasionally on offshore islands, is the property containing multiple outbuildings of the station, as well as the lighthouse tower itself. So it's like the facility.
Right. So a lighthouse exists within a general light station.
Yeah.
Which itself exists within a light suburb.
And then within the light nation. And it's an old-timey thing, and they're taking a photo of an old-timey bloke and an old-timey lady.
He's got that, like, I'm angry all the time, old-timey face, Like one of those, like, granddads that just never smiled.
No.
Like, he was born and punched in the stomach and immediately had to go work on the farm as, like, almost just a fetus. Which we joke, but, like, my granddad hunted rabbits for food,
Yeah.
At the age of 10.
Yeah, I don't want to hunt any of my food, thank you.
It's like a fantasy game, but shit.
Yeah.
Go kill 10 rabbits. Oh, do I get something for that? Your dinner for like 10 days. That's what happens if I fail this quest? Starvation in the outback. Goody.
So yeah, they take a photo and then someone's painting the granddad's eyes.
Yeah, like he does have kind of blue eyes, but then they paint his eyes blue. Like someone paints the eyes in the photograph bluer.
Like that's striking blue. Like
Yeah.
it's way bluer. And then you see sort of like some little lemons grow around it, and it says "Granddad's Gifts," and that's the intro.
The
And
subtitles also said like, what was it, scary music or calm music?
it was
Something along those
something
lines.
rhythmic music,
But it was like gentle music, that's it, yeah.
rhythmic music,
But
and
it's
it
not.
was
It's
not.
like zesty Spanish guitar.
Yeah,
To be fair, actually, I think this was probably the best bit about this episode. This was a good soundtrack.
yeah.
Like I could sit here and happily
It
listen to
doesn't
that.
sound like ooh, wacky's 90s like the other ones.
Because that
push.
annoys the shit out of me.
Yeah.
It really takes me out of it.
So Linda's dreaming. She's in her room and she's dreaming of this weird fox at a lemon tree.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can describe it. Because
Well,
it's
yeah.
a puppet, obviously, that they've made, but it just looks wrong.
The thing I wrote was fox corpse trying to climb a lemon tree? And is it meant to be dead, or is this just a shitty animatronic? Which we will get a conclusion to that question.
And Linda wakes up and, of course, blames Bronson for the noises.
I did like that because it's instant. Just wakes up, there's a weird sound. Bronson, nothing. I'm going to kill you. And it's like, the second one is like, yeah.
No, she says murder.
That's right, yeah.
Which is
This
like
is more specific.
very specific.
Yeah. That's a chosen word.
Yeah.
Like angry people say I'm going to kill him, but like I'm going to murder you acknowledges the social, incorrectness of homicide. Which means you're thinking about this.
She's been thinking about it a long
Yeah,
time.
you
Let's be
probably
real.
This is a I do want to kill Bronson episode.
I believe that's why they bought the lighthouse, so they can just push him off one day.
Yeah, we're going to take the railing off the top and nature will take its course.
So she starts freaking out because she can hear whimpering noises and she feels it's coming within her room. So she yells for Tony, she yells for Dad, and they do this weird kind of vertical shot of like all the twists meeting outside her door from
the stairwell.
Yeah.
The weird thing for me was like, because they had this shot of the fucking fox outside whimpering, I just figured that the whimpering was coming from outside. Like this whole scene, I didn't know that she thought the whimpering was coming from inside. Because obviously it's just overlaid fucking sound. It's not like they can make it really sound like something from inside. So I was just like, what the fuck is she doing? She gets up and just like opens her cupboard and it's like, isn't it outside? Like, if you hear a train, you're not like, oh, I'm going to get that cupboard train. Like, that was, so that whole opening sequence did not make sense to me. I was just really confused.
No, it's another one of those cases of that's a dream that has not, like, it has a tiny connection to what's happening, but it's not displayed in a way that connects.
They haven't translated it in a way that really explains what's happening here.
And so she's complaining that there's a very scary noise within her room. And Pete says something here that just threw me, and it was fair shake of the sauce bottle.
This really feels like, that period where it was like, okay, we're going to try and make Australian slang a thing again.
And that's a bad idea.
Like, you can't force it.
No.
You got to, like, ask rappers because, for all the stuff that sticks, lots didn't. Boy, lots didn't.
I think it would actually stick a lot better these days if we were trying to push these, because society just takes every single word and turns it into something stupid.
That, and I feel like there's a certain novelty, now the greater international connection or allows the dumb novelty of Australianisms to have some sort of value outside of just a thing you hear your aunt say occasionally.
Because, like, this is my getting old moment of, you kids are wrong. Stop making words that already exist into other words, you dumb fucks. Because, like, kids are now saying fit instead of outfits, and it's just like, stop. It's one more syllable. Come on. Like, check my fit. No, fuck off. We also use the word fit as in like, oh, that boy's fit in it, Like, it's already slang elsewhere.
Australia is in just that weird, like, nether realm of being part of, like, the English-speaking smear. So just again, absorbing just mostly English and American
Mm.
stuff, and, you know, being 100 years old. So what chance it had of developing its own culture kind of died with the, very early arrival of like major communication systems like radio, TV, and the internet.
Yeah.
So there's just like, it's that little kid putting on like, trying to put on a school uniform and go to school. And it's like, you're not, this isn't going to work the same way. Those
Yeah.
countries were old, like America's like what, 400 or some shit. And then England's like, I don't know, a billion T. So it's just, you can't, you can't fake your way to developing this shit.
Mm.
One thing that stuck out in this moment to me was Bronson's pronunciation of burglars, which was burglars.
Which was great.
I do like that.
Yeah.
Burglars.
Because like burglar is a hard word for the Scottish to say. And children.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot that thing.
Yeah.
The Hamula burglar. Stuck on that now. Yeah, like that's right. Because he showed me that. It was like, because there's those little things that go around occasionally of like, those would be accents that struggle with some shit. And yeah, Scottish people trying to pronounce burglar.
Like they just can't do, a lot of them just can't do it. And it's great.
It's weird watching it happen. It's like that fucking thing I love of like the Boston accent test. And the words are Aaron earned the iron earn. And then you get a Bostonian to say that, and it just sounds like the aliens from Mars Attacks.
It's awful.
And there's this moment where one of was like, wait, do we actually fucking talk like that? It's like, yeah. It's like, that's nuts.
What happened next? I think I skipped a part.
Well, Tony, they can't find the source of the sound, and then like, Linda's insisting. Like the Linda dream part just really doesn't, the dream element is kind of weird in this. And then, Tony mentions that he had a dream about Faye, leaving him.
Oh, that's right, yes.
And then Linda insists it's not a dream. We go to a shot outside of the lemon tree, and then some lemons magically grow on it. And then, it's the next day, and Linda's staring at the trio of magic lemons.
That's right. And you see Nell in the background walk into the house.
Yeah.
And I wrote this. Nell dressed like she plays the guitar on the MTV.
There is a 80s pantsuit quality to it, which is what it is, because I don't know where she got that outfit, because there's no way that was just in her wardrobe.
It might have been her father's.
I can't remember it enough, but I feel like that's still it's a ladies' cut pantsuit. Like it's one of those ladies' suits,
Maybe she altered it.
I mean, I reckon she probably just, because it's very 80s, she probably just got it from the fucking op shop that morning. Like walked in and was like, yeah, okay.
That will do.
Yeah. I want to look like the fucking, side chick in an 80s music video. Like a Duran Duran one that has less nudity.
And that, because she's obviously running against Gribble for senator or whatever it is. I can't remember.
Fucking, yeah. Humongous, I suppose. I don't know what the political system of Port Noranda is, but I don't think it's in any way attached to the Australian Westminster approach.
No.
I think it's mostly just like who can dodge the most possums being thrown at them.
Then Faye comes up.
Yeah, Tony's sculpting a Faye statue.
This is like the most plot we get for the series in this episode. And it's kind of harsh.
Yeah, so like Bronson's in the kitchen throwing a tantrum because someone threw out his peanut butter and lime milkshake.
Ugh.
And then takes some of it out on Faye. And then Faye proceeds to just unload on Tony about how Bronson hates her, and so it isn't going to work. And like, I'm watching this thinking, oh, this will be a dream, because this entire thing is just so insanely contrived to fuck with Tony that there's no way that this is like, hey, this will be part of his dream about, I'm dreaming Faye is going to break up with me. And then it's not. It's just like, no, like Faye is like, just has one interaction with Bronson and goes, he's never going to love me. I know the kids have to come first. This won't work. Toodaloo. And then that's that.
Yeah. And she's like, yep, we're done. And Tony's like, he's his usual awkward self. Look, Tony, the fact you even had Faye this long was a miracle.
I just feel it's like nuts because you walked up to a writer and gone, you have 20 seconds to cover this.
To cut a relationship that has been building for 2 seasons.
Yeah, that we've had like, and the thing was the last episode felt like it was resolving this.
Yeah.
So then we get to this, it's like, Oh, okay, that just wasn't resolved then, was it? Because the problem was they made that the fucking last episode's conflict that looked like it was resolved because it ended happily with a party. So
Faye got a gift from Bronson. She was
yeah.
all happy, and now, nope. Sorry.
Yeah, Tony's waving at her in a daze.
Which is just poor Tony. Like, get rid of Bronson. That's all I'm like. He's weird. He's fucking everything up. Get rid of him. Just take the railing off.
Like, if Bronson were born like in this generation, he'd do fine on the internet. Like, he'd probably have an incredibly popular TikTok or some shit.
Or have a fuckload of therapy.
I mean,
because I feel he needs therapy because his mum died when he was young.
Yeah, but I feel like that's just what happens now is the kids can't afford therapy, so they go onto the TikTok and they become incredibly popular online. And then they have a breakdown when they are unable to emotionally handle any of the popularity.
See, I kind of want to see that story play out.
Because like that just wasn't an option for kids in the 90s. You couldn't monetize the fact that you were a weird piece of shit. So you just you'd just go to school and people wouldn't like you. And then you'd go to high school and people wouldn't like you. And that would just shape who you were for the rest of your life and turn you into like a paranoid, emotionally numb lunatic. And so Linda's staring at the lemon tray and thinking, suspicious lemons. And it's like she notices that the lemons grow overnight. And that's impressive because I don't think she noticed the lemon tree otherwise. Like, my grandma had a lemon tree in her yard and we'd go over there a lot and you'd walk past the tree and one day there'd just be lemons on it. And at no point did I think, oh, that fucking, bunch of lemons must have grown in the last like week. It's like, no, they were growing. I just never noticed because I don't give it. Like, why would
you notice lemons growing? What does that
unless
serve
getting the
you?
lemons was a big just like, oh, I can't wait for lemon season. It's like, all right, but it's just like, oh, the lemons grew overnight. It's like, did they? Or did you just not notice lemons? That'd be my first thought. It's like, oh, wow, look, lemons been going off.
When life gives you lemons, push Bronson off the lighthouse.
When life gives you lighthouses, push Bronson. Yeah. The ghosts appear and shed a tear at Tony's hilarious.
I thought one of them laughed.
Relationship.
I swear one of them was like laughing.
He sniffed and wiped his eye.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I could understand how that would look like fucking loser.
Yeah,
and that's what I'd be
thought.
saying. But like, yeah, we'd both be there going, look at that loser. Fucking.
Man, I want to be a ghost. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Just spend the rest of your weird, immortal afterlife harassing sad single dads. And we get one of probably the slightly weirder cuts in this episode, which is just to the bullies doing yard work.
That's what I mean. This episode just unhinged. Yeah, Stuff just happens.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we need to introduce something that we need later. How are we doing this? Okay, cut to the bullies doing yard work. And you can't see me doing quotes because I'm not bothering to do them because you can't see me doing them, but the quotes are there because they're not really doing yard work. They've just got yard work tools and like above and beyond what I'd give a trio of 13-year-olds in a pink fit. Like one of them's got a hedge trimmer, one of them's got like a full tilt fucking whippersnipper, and there's a fucking chipper.
Like these are still petrol products. They're not like electric or anything. These things will rip your arm off.
Yeah, these aren't the cheap things you get from Bunnings because you have to do your yard before the real estate shows up. It's like these are full tilt things, and they're mowing this lady's flowers and just cutting just butchering her trees, just everything green. And the entire time they're like chanting this weird Oompa Loompa song about
bizarre.
Chop, chop, thresh, shred, like
rip, fucking all these words.
Rip, thresh, shred.
The twist kids, Bronson and Pete, go past, and they're like, kind of like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we're raising money for the scouts. And they're like, you're not in the scouts.
Yeah. And then they're like, yeah, we're still raising money for him. And then the old lady comes out and is like, what are you kids doing? It's like, yard work. And they're just, you're butchering my plots. Some of those were rare. It's just, well, rarer now.
It's just kind of, it's just like, look, lady, I think this is on you when you let them do it in the first place.
It has a bit of that energy from the episodes of Beavis and Butthead where Mr. Anderson will constantly give Beavis and Butthead jobs to do around the house.
Even though he knows that it's going to go just tits up.
Well, the best thing is like, because he's so senile, he never realizes that it's them and keeps thinking that it's this other duo, and he's always got the name wrong for the other duo. It's just one of my favorite dumb running jokes. And then fucking Tony's still just in a stupor at the lighthouse, and old Exposition Nell coming along in her pantsuit to point out that Grandad shot a fox and buried it below that lemon tree.
I think she said he buried its innards, didn't he?
Yeah, which I just took to be the thing.
Because they kept the
Oh,
the
right,
skin.
yeah, no, yeah.
So they've
buried its
skinned.
guts,
She skinned
yeah.
the fox, and buried the rest under the tree.
And then Tony says to the kids that the wedding is off, but he was going to end it anyway, which is a lie.
Done with women.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, we getting some Mardi Gras Tony up in here.
Yeah, no. If you were going to end it anyway, you weren't done with women.
Because you'd be looking for another.
You
woman.
might have been done with that woman, but you weren't done with women. That's.
Well, I mean, she's like one of 3 options in the town, so he's pretty screwed.
Yeah, it's not.
Slim pickings.
I mean, yeah, there's plenty more fish in the sea, but you're not near the sea. You're near a lake, and it's been fished out. There's just nothing there for you now. So we cut to fucking nighttime and more magic lemons. And I wrote Linda awakens to the sound of like whimpering, but then later on I had to write, I don't think she's actually awake.
No, she was sleepwalking.
Yeah.
So she sleepwalked over and opened a secret compartment in her wall.
Yeah.
And there was the fox skin in there.
Yeah. This is a hidden closet with some stuff in it, including a fur.
Yeah. So she walks out of her room and starts going down outside, and Pete and Bronson follow her.
Oh, we got hang on, because you're like, while she's doing that, like Bronson's downstairs getting a strawberry lemon chocolate milkshake because he's a stupid piece of shit.
And Tony's down there.
Yeah, and Tony's just on the couch being sad. And then Bronson, which he does multiple times, just does not understand what's going on. And then, when Tony talked about missing Faye, goes, "You still have me." And it's like, that's not the same, Bronson. And then, Tony tastes Bronson's awful shit thing. And Bronson continues to just go on about the finer points of mixing citric acid and milk.
He's an abomination. It needs to be stopped.
Really is. So Tony heads upstairs, and then Linda walks past in a fugue state, and that's when Pete follows her, and then Bronson tries to wake her up, and then Pete says, "No, don't do that," and so they follow her outside.
You know what annoys me is this happens every time any show has sleepwalking. Don't ever wake a sleepwalker. Tell us why. Give us a fucking reason. Don't just say that. Don't just depend on that old fucking trope.
I'm gonna look that up because I'm curious. Because
no one ever says don't wake the sleepwalker because and why? It will literally take you 5 seconds to explain.
Because it feels like just nonsense.
Yeah. I assume because the person might freak out depending where they are or something.
I do like the sleepwalking medical thing come up with symptoms, usually self-diagnosable. It's like, yeah, I'll give him that one. All right. So there's no idea that it's actually dangerous. But attempting to wake them is interesting because they're already halfway between asleep and awake.
Right.
And so the thing that's wrong is the stuff that knocks you physically out. So if you shake them and shit, you might wake them up, but also they might just in their dream brain think they're being eaten by something and start going nuts. So that's the legitimate problem that you may run into is just a sudden whirling dervish of arms. But they're not going to have a heart attack or fucking
right
explode or do anything else all that interesting. It's just because the fucking brain's not doing what it should.
Mm-hmm.
They might just think demons and start lashing out. So what is it? Yeah, what's Linda do after this?
She goes out. She opens the door and goes outside to go to the lemon tree and pick some lemons so she can bring them back to the fox. And Bronson once again tries to mess with her.
Which you can lash out at Bronson.
Yeah, that's fine. No one will bat an eye if you punch Bronson in the face while sleepwalking. That's fine.
Everyone sleepwalk beats Bronson up occasionally. It's a Port Noranda phenomenon.
So there you go. That's how we could make money. Give me $1, you can punch me in the face.
And yeah, so she goes back in her room and like just leaves the lemons as an offering for the fox carcass. And you can hear the fox eating lemons. And she gets back in and goes to sleep. And then it cuts to the boys outside. And wasn't sure if they'd seen what had happened or not. It just felt like they were listening.
Mm.
And then, they hear, I don't know, sounds of lemon munching. Which, to be fair, if like someone was sleepwalking and just sort of bumping into things and doing stuff, be like, all right. If someone was specifically sleep eating lemons, that would be the most interesting thing in the world to me.
Yeah. Lemons aren't easy to eat.
I mean, I like sour. Like, I really like, I'm the kind of person if you could, like I can happily eat pickled limes and things like that. And still, like getting through a whole just off the fucking tree lemon. Especially because off the tree lemons, it's a mixed bag, man. Like sometimes you get a good lemon, and other times you get just a fist made of rind. It's just awful.
Yeah.
I don't know why that happens.
And like they never look nice either, like the outside of them.
No, man, like fucking something about like just home lemon trees.
Yeah.
Just sends them berserk.
Dude.
And you wind up with things that are just not of this lemon earth.
No.
It's like, oh yeah, that one's just seemingly tentacles. I don't want to eat lemon tentacles. Again, like I don't believe that it's going to be anything but just rind all the way through. We cut to the next day, and the bullies show up. This time in Gribble's car.
And
like
they're
Gribble's
still
driving.
singing the stupid fucking ripping song.
Like if, all right, I'll give that old lady some fucking slack because she's old and probably doesn't understand. But like if you give yard work jobs to a trio of 13-year-olds with monstrous power tools, singing a song about ripping, tearing, and shredding, you've probably got whatever it is coming.
Yeah.
And the thing is like there's some jobs you could do. Like you just take them out back to one of those yards that's completely overgrown and just go, off you go, you little
nuts.
fuckers. Yeah. See what you can do.
So they've come to the lighthouse to ask Tony if they can do some gardening for him.
Yeah.
And Tony's still in his funk. So he's like, oh, not really today, boys. Oh, so tomorrow then? Yeah, sure, whatever.
And like, the thing, like the money thing appears to be going to Gribble.
Yeah, because they say we're doing it for charity, but then they all look sideways at each other.
We're doing it for charity. They're all clearly lying. And Gribble hears this, like Gribble Senior hears this, and is very clearly like not like correcting or doing it. Like he's part of whatever this fucking shenanigan is.
He's the one who bought the tools.
I mean, yeah, that no one would sell tools to those children, nor would they rent tools to those children.
And they wouldn't have the money for it either.
No, and under no circumstances would I hand a shitty fucking 13-year-old a hedge trimmer.
Ew.
Unless, again, I'd kidnap them and put them in a completely overrun backyard that they had to escape from.
So then Tony goes and sits on the cliff. I thought he was going to jump.
I know. This was some top quality. I wrote Tony sitting on a cliff in Victoria, classic suicide vibes. I was like, you can't have all this happen and then have Tony sitting on a cliff.
No.
Because it's just like, well, next season is going to be about some orphans who live in a lighthouse with their fun Karen Nell.
And then it goes to Tony cutting onions. Like a shitload of onions too.
Well, actually, there was a bit just before that where like Linda and Nell are looking at photos of the grandpa, like, and the fox. So he's shot the fox for his like wife.
She didn't like it.
The wife didn't like wearing a fox corpse. They talk about his blue eyes. And then, yeah, Tony's chopping fucking onions after his cliff sit and just... Now he's sad and talking to his children about what they want to do when he dies. Which is, again, like alarm bells. That's an alarm bell, And now that we live in the "Are you okay" era, that's a you just may want to check in on that occasionally.
Yeah.
Like this is like that Linkin Park guy writing songs about how he is insane and he's going to kill himself, and then no one did anything, and then he killed himself. It's like, all right, look, I know it's hard, but sometimes you can see some shit coming, you know?
So yeah, Tony's cutting up onions and he says that he wants, when he dies, bury him on a lonely cliff overhanging the ocean, a lonely cliff, a lonely grave for a lonely man. And it's just like, dude.
Yeah, again, it's like, all right, look, just. And then you can't leave him with Bronson because that's just another
Bronson's
fucking
just
suicide
awful.
trigger.
He's lonely at night, Bronson. Oh, he can sleep in my room. Oh, Lordy Bronson. No one likes you.
We're gonna have to get
You
you
didn't
like,
wash your feet for 6 months. You think your dad wants to sleep in your room where with your smells and your weird milkshakes and everything?
just on a personal level, you're an awful thing to be around, Bronson.
Yeah.
And so, now it's night, and Linda hears the whimpering, but is actually awake this time. And so she goes to like the secret cupboard, which, considering like this is like at least the second or third secret cupboard in the series.
I'd just be going around pushing everything.
I'd have been kind of like, all right, where? Because if I find a secret cupboard, the hunt is on. I'm like, all right, what else is in this fucking place?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
She
Maybe
didn't
school's
actually
keeping
know
them
where it
busy.
was because she was sleepwalking.
Yeah, but she found
So
it because it had the tear and she had a poster over it.
Yeah.
And it had like a tear, which is some of the best filmmaking in this episode.
Yeah.
And then she opens it up and,
The fox is slightly regened.
yeah,
You know,
and
it looks a bit
consumed
more
the lemon.
bit more healthy, and there's lemon peels there.
And it
So
moves
she
at
puts 2 to 2 together. Yeah, it like pokes its tongue out slightly and gives her this look. So she puts 2 and 2 together and was like, well, these lemons are healing this fox.
which is
maybe
a
get
heck
the
of a
rest.
calculation. Because I didn't even have that at that stage. Like, it took me a second. Because the problem is like, we're still using the same taxidermized fox, which looks like one of those things you find on the internet where like a taxidermy was done in like the 1600s by someone who'd never seen like a lion.
Yeah.
And you're looking at this thing going, sweet fucking Jesus. Like someone just had to cobble together a lion from like guesswork, which doesn't bode well for like our image of dinosaurs, really. They might have been a lot fucking stupider looking or a lot more scary looking, considering what happened to the lion. And then you look at the fucking lion that someone had to make just off of parts and an artistic fucking temperament. And then it looks goofy as shit.
So yeah, Linda wants to get more lemons for the fox. Which,
Naturally.
Fair enough. And
Zesty
of
Spanish
course,
guitar is back.
Pete and Bronson are watching her again.
Yeah,
As is Nell this time,
yeah.
which was just a bit creepy.
This is interesting too, because we kind of get an idea of like that area or that thing over on the side of the house is Nell's shed.
Yeah.
That's where Nell lives, apparently.
It's just, it freaks me out because it's like, I bought a lighthouse. Okay, cool. You also inhabited Nell.
Yeah.
You inherited Nell.
Yeah,
what the fuck is a Nell?
No, like, you laugh, but like you will find weirder shit in Brisbane real estate looking for like places to rent. You will run across just some of the most baffling fucking housing arrangements that should be illegal, but were probably grandfathered in because they were done in the 1970s, where it's just, here's what looks like a whole house. Oh yeah, that's kind of cool. Huh. Why does this one area downstairs look like a mahjong bar? It's like, oh, you don't get downstairs. Your area is upstairs, even though it's all just one house and there's no barrier separating these parts. And sometimes there'll just be very old Chinese people down here playing mahjong just where you live. And that was a house we saw. And that was in the year of our Lord 2020,
Yeah, it's not like this was like 2005.
Yeah, like if someone was like, there's a crazy old lady. Okay, she's in her own shed far away from the main house. All right,
That would make
now we're
more
talking.
sense,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay, we're getting somewhere. I don't just have to.
She sleeps in your
occasionally-
bed now.
Yeah.
What?
It's like, I don't have to deal with, I don't know, old triad dudes having a fucking mahjong stab fight at like 3 a.m.
Mm. So yeah, Linda goes and grabs more lemons. Nell's watching. The boys are watching. Then they go back up and she gives them to and you can hear crunching and the boys are like, oh, she's eating lemons. What the fuck?
Yeah. She couldn't reach the top two. She
Yeah,
kind of
she couldn't
strained for
get
the
the
top
two.
two.
Yeah.
And then
So there
it
was
goes,
2 left. So then the boys are like, she opens the door and was like, "What are you doing?"
Mm.
It's like, "Who have you got in there? It's none of your business. There's no one in here." And they have a fight, and Tony eventually comes down and was like, "What's all this racket?" Gets upset, sends everyone to bed because that's all he can do.
It's funny because this is like Tony looking like his like just actually fucking done with some of this shit.
Yeah.
I do like seeing that. It's like, I'm not in the mood for shenanigans. Go to fucking bed. And Linda's upset because she can't get the eyes.
Yeah. So the fox is completely regened except its eyes, which are still
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 goofy
fake.
fucking taxidermy eyes.
Yeah.
Which Bronson naturally thinks to mean pies.
Yeah, which is great because he's like, "Who are
She's
you
in there
giving
feeding
those
someone
pies to?"
Yeah.
And she just, does the correct thing and completely ignores him.
I'm not even going to acknowledge that. You're just not helpful at all, Bronson. You're not even hindering properly.
And of course, we get the tying. So she goes back to bed. Everyone goes to sleep, and we get the tying of the stories of the Gribbles doing the
Yeah.
gardening.
I wrote, this is how the bullies wreck shit.
Because they've obviously, Tony said they could come yesterday because he said, yeah, whatever. So they've come and started just destroying the shit out of everything. And they've thrown the lemon, they've cut down the lemon tree, thrown it into the mulcher. And
including the lemons.
And Linda comes out and just freaks out.
Yeah.
She starts crying.
She's
and going,
screaming about fox eyes.
Yeah.
With like no context.
No.
Which is a nuts thing to do. And
Nell understands, though. Nell sort of guesses what's going on. And this is the thing about Nell. I think Nell is the gatekeeper. I think she's the gatekeeper of like the para-causal world here. Everything that comes through, like Nell knows what's going on.
I do feel like, again, there's a lot you could do with the idea of the character of Nell, and just have her slowly, and I mean real subtly over the course of 5 seasons turn out to be the villain.
That would be great.
Yeah.
So Nell suggests going to the other small lemon tree and getting those lemons. And Linda's convinced it won't work because the fox was buried under the lemon tree that got destroyed. And Nell's like, no, please, just give it a go for me. So Linda's like, okay.
When we learn there's another lemon. I didn't know there was a first lemon tree. There's a second lemon tree.
Yeah. So she grabs some lemons off this tree, goes back to the fox, apologizes to it. And like, I know these aren't from your grave. Like, I don't know. So
sorry, I don't have your eyeball lemons. Because you picked up on the fact that the fox was like more whole. I didn't. I'm just looking at this thing going, man, look at that wacky fucking shitty taxidermy. So I didn't even piece together at this point that the fucking, it took me until like about here for me to go, oh, okay, for some reason the lemons are just making the fox back together again. Because,
but see, you also passed over the fact that it was its innards that was buried.
Yeah.
And that was the key point for me, is because I was like, oh, well, each lemon must have a piece of the, fox's essence or innards. The fox's Schwepp of essence. So Linda gets upset and comes back down and says, it didn't work. And Nell hugs her and then goes, oh, look. And they look to the lighthouse and out sneaks the fox and its eyes are fucking blue.
To their great credit, this actually looked good.
It did. It didn't look
fucking shitty, which it really fucking could have. It didn't even look as bad as like the Fremen effect in like Lynch's Dune. It legitimately looked like a fox with really blue eyes.
Yeah. So the fox comes out and, it runs over to the other tree, and it turns out that the grandfather had been buried under where the tree grew.
Yeah.
That's his grave.
With grandpa eyes.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that's grandpa's gift. Is the eyes, because the otherwise, but it was gifts plural. I thought we were going to get a story about grandpa leaving behind a bunch of stuff that was powered.
I mean, that would make a bit more sense, like, because there's been like weird mad scientist elements previous, like with the fucking duplicator machine. Because like, who was that? Was that grandpa? I can't remember who made the duplicator machine.
It was, I think Nell's one of Nell's brothers or something.
Probably right.
But yeah, it felt like an odd resolution because
it just ends after this. It's like, oh yeah, blue-eyed fox. Okie dokie, bye.
Yeah, we don't get any resolution for Tony at all.
Yeah, like I'm assuming that's going to carry over, but I mean, still.
Yeah, you expect at least something, a little bite of something. And then but the grandfather obviously shot the fox, killed the fox. The fox spirit's restless, and it's like, haha, now I've got your eyes, old bitch. But it didn't have a sort of a feeling of
There
which
was
way
none
to
of
go.
no, there was none of that like, okay, there's been a comeuppance or
Yeah.
there's been some kind of theme or some kind of greater idea drawn out.
Oh, now you've just got this blue-eyed fox out here. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it a mystical fox? Is it going to live forever? What's going on with this fox?
Yeah, did the fox eat Grandpa's chickens and he was trying to catch the fox for years and so they had this like fucking,
Does
you
he have
know,
Grandpa's soul in him now?
yeah.
Like in his eyes?
Is he just, what's that fox? Is it like just a zombie eternal fox now? Can it die again? Now that it's eaten its like Ushaptis?
I feel the previous episode should have been the season finale.
It did feel like a season finale.
Because we've still got like another 2 episodes left in this season. Actually, wait. This was episode 8. We've got another 4 episodes left.
That's gonna be madness.
Like, what sort of like? I'm assuming we solved the Fae problem before the end of the season.
I feel like that should have gotten like stretched over this episode. Like rather than have her just go, Bronson doesn't like me. Fuck you. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Have the Bronson thing exacerbated here, but then paid off later. Because you can't do that the episode next.
No.
Like it just fucks it up. Like this was, because again, all of these are, were originally like, I'm not sure if there's even a single original story written for Round the Twist.
There is. Some of them are.
Right.
Not all of them were adapted.
Because yeah, this one's definitely one of the fucking adapted ones. And you can feel it because so much had to get either dropped or recontextualized to work within the framework of Round the Twist.
Mm.
And that fucks shit up. Like, why would Linda keep this a secret? That makes sense when you're writing a short story that it doesn't have a connection to anything else,
Yeah.
Like if you're just some little girl or whatever and there's like a fucking dead fox telling you to pick lemons, yeah, you probably keep that to yourself.
Yeah, it was one of the short stories from Unbearable.
Yeah. No, because I definitely remember it. I don't remember much of what happened in it, but I do remember like the title of it. And like, why would she lie about that? Why would she get so emotionally involved in this, really? Like, just why wouldn't she tell her brothers, We have to get the fuck, like, because they've been teaming up for this whole season fairly effectively. It's not like this is a thing where it's like Bronson said, you know what, I'd love to eat lemons made out of fox eyes or something, where there was a reason she might want to keep it a fucking secret. It was just a secret because the story, for some reason, needed it to be. And so, like, just the kind of linchpins of the episode are, like, Linda's emotional involvement in it, which is, hinged on it being a secret and something specific to her, which it makes no earthly sense for that to be the case.
Mm.
And then, yeah, there's, because of, having to tweak it and fiddle with, there's no sort of overall moral point or theme or any of the dramatic backstory shit. There's just, here's some stuff. And now the fox has blue eyes. Okay. It's got grandpa eyes. Alrighty. Did it, was it always trying to eat his eyeballs? Like, what's going on here? Is this doing something for me? Did grandpa deserve it? I mean, he looked like one of those, like, kind of dick old people, but you have to be doing something pretty bad for me to want to curse you to, I don't know, constantly see out of the eyes of a zombie fox for all eternity.
Yeah, so it was just a kind of a weird episode on the whole.
Scattershot.
I feel we should have, as I said, I feel this should have gone before the previous one.
This really feels like
because
something
you could have done this, had just a little bit more of the Faye storyline in it, and then have it like Bronson kind of resolve a bit.
Yeah, this feels like something that could have been sprinkled throughout the series as well. Like just have like, instead of just nothing but Bronson references, you alternate Bronson and then like a weird thing about a lemon tree or stuff about the Grandad, just a bit more setup. Because the problem is you get these blue-eyed, this thing that's a payoff, but it's a payoff for shit that we haven't really fucking seen. You're paying off nothing. Like just, all right. I mean, yeah, the music was good, which is nice. I hope they stick with that. They won't, but I hope they do. It'll be back to like, I don't know, that real aggressive Nickelodeon zany pretty soon.
Yeah.
Decent shots. Probably some decent performances, actually. I think Linda delivered, the actress. The Linda actress.
Yeah.
The Lindoid. Calling her that now.
I gotta say, I don't like Pete. I don't like this actor for Pete.
I think he's okay when he's got good material, but I don't think he's good at like. The problem is he's got like that leading man quality of taking you out of it.
Yeah.
Whereas like the other Pete could blend into the background fairly naturally. This Pete's fine when he's given that job to do. You know, like when he's being a smart ass to like the mermaid dad. It's like that fits him.
Yeah.
When the writers can't think of something to keep him fucking busy, getting him to just, you know, wander in with today's, you know, clumsy Australian slang reference.
Because that's what he's been doing in like a lot of episodes.
Yeah.
It's just here's a bit of Australian slang.
It doubles it doubles up that sense of it being forced, which then like spills onto him as a character.
Mm.
You know, you're just like, oh, okay, yeah, it's like Mr. Forced. So yeah, it's not a highlight of the series, but I mean, look, there's been worse. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now we get to the miserable end of this, where I have to ask Amber, have you ever felt like this? Have you ever had any experiences with sleepwalkers or sleep talkers? Have you ever fucked up doing yard work or any other interesting yard work stories? Ever been dumped? And favorite milkshake? So have you ever had an experience with a sleepwalker or sleep talker?
I sometimes sleep talk. I've slept walk when I was younger.
Huh.
I've eaten carrots in my sleep.
Huh.
I've eaten peanut butter sandwiches in my sleep.
Did you make it? Or did you just
My
find it in
mum
the
made
fridge?
it for me.
While you were asleep?
Yeah. Because I asked her for one. And she made me one.
I feel like you were like burying elements of that. You know, I had a peanut butter sandwich in my sleep. Oh, okay. Just you said I asked mum to get me a peanut butter sandwich while I was sleepwalking one time. So yes, you have. That's interesting. I never have. I'll snore sometimes if my neck slumps over the back of the pillow and it like hyperextends, you know, my throat. But aside from that,
I use a sleep app to like track my sleep, and it records me when I'm asleep. So if I do sleep
so when
talk,
an app it's fine.
I can hear it back.
Huh.
Which is very interesting.
I didn't even know such a service occurred.
Yeah.
I never saw it, but I always really wanted to, but I didn't know someone who sleptwalked like fucking crazy. Like would do it was at the point where we were trying to work out a way of training him to do dishes in his sleep. Because he was annoyed with the amount of like weird stuff he did in his sleep, but none of it was productive.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, yeah, I get that. Like if I were, you know, able to just perform complex tasks in my fucking sleep, I'd be furious I wasn't getting chores done. 'Cause that's the fucking dream, you know?
Yeah.
What are you, asleep and getting the fucking, you just wake up, it's like the dishes are done. But the problem is like, you know, it's like a robot. If the dishes aren't in exactly the right spot, it's like, oh, okay, well, now you've just been fucking grinding a fry pan into a plate. And it's like, well, that's, you know, that's fucking ruined. Do people open their eyes while they're sleepwalking?
Sometimes.
Because I've seen some footage of it online, people doing it. Because I think it was you showed me. There's that woman that like fucking on TikTok just films herself sleepwalking, and like
she gets it bad. Yeah.
Yeah, that is fucking crazy.
Yeah, some people do have their eyes open. It's like some people sleep with their eyes open, and that's fucking creepy.
That is fucking insane. I don't know how you'd wake up without like just crusty eyes.
I
That
guess
must be awful.
I guess like the brain just disconnects the senses.
Yeah. I mean, like, just dry them out, you know. But I'm assuming, like, your tear ducts probably go, well, dry eyeballs, time to get juicy. I mean, I did a push-up in my sleep once. It was when I was a lot younger, and, like, I was just dreaming I was doing push-ups, but I couldn't do a push-up because, you know, you got that, again, like, people who don't sleepwalk have this chemical that, like, stops you. But that's why you always feel weak in your dreams, you know, because that's your fucking brain trying to, you know, operate through this fucking shit. And so I was really, really upset that I couldn't do one push-up because I knew I could do one push-up. You know, I was like fucking just butthurt and furiously forced myself up and then woke up just off the ground. I was like, oh, what the fuck? But that's about the most exciting thing I've ever done. Otherwise, it's just like, no.
Yeah.
Just a lump. I mean, some nights I'd stir a little bit, probably because my like hip or back. Nothing interesting. I
Mm.
had a girlfriend that would kind of talk a little bit. It was more muttering.
Yeah, I don't flat out talk. Mine's mostly muttering.
Yeah. And one girlfriend that would snore like a diesel train full of rusty chainsaws.
Jesus.
Oh, like it was just loud, like startling me awake. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm gonna just like, pinch her nose or wake her up and roll her over. Sleep on your stomach.
I snore.
I sleep on my stomach, so mostly that kind of like, you don't
Yeah,
get
I
the.
don't sleep on my back.
Yeah.
So either side or stomach. What was the next one?
Have you ever fucked up doing yard work?
Oh yeah.
Or, any kind of interesting, did you mow grandma's flowers? While you're thinking, because I got one for this. This is my cousin. My grandma's old house in Launton, like, had this vine that had grown around, like my granddad had, like, put these things up for it, so this massive fucking, I mean massive vine grew around the entire side of the house and then the entire front of the, balcony of the house. To the point where the front balcony, you just couldn't even see, like, the wood. It just looked like stairs went up to this fucking just catastrophe of fucking vines. And one day my cousin was doing yard work and was just like, you couldn't, because it was like fucking just wood spaghetti. Like it was just these noodles of fucking vines everywhere.
Mm.
And so he had no idea what he was doing and cut what turned out to be like the fucking source log. The thing that went in, like it wasn't just like, oh yeah, here's a bit. It was like, no, that bit connects to the dirt. And like that was the whole vine.
Yeah.
It was like just this one fucking connection. And he managed to find it and fucking cut it. And so then it was just like, well, that fucking like 30-year-old goddamn natural marvel is dead.
Look, I don't remember really any sort of things.
Dad didn't slap you until you did yard work.
No, because like generally I would do a job that wasn't to his standards. So therefore I wouldn't have to do it anymore.
Genius.
And it's not that I did it on purpose. It was just, he obviously was just
Sub-genius.
expecting it to be a certain professional level. And it's like, I'm a child. It's not going to happen. Like one day he was like, told me to paint the side of the house.
That's amazing. How old were you?
Probably between 9 and 11.
That's even more amazing.
I know. And
side of the fucking house.
I know, dude. And it's like, you think he really taught me how to do it? Probably no. So when he came out, I was like, what the fuck are you doing? It's all wrong. It's like, I don't know what I'm doing. Why are you making me do this?
Yeah. Would you have even had like fucking scaffolding to get up to the top? Like,
oh, no. No, God, no. I was only doing the bottom floor. Like,
paint the side of the house.
I know.
That is entirely on him.
I know.
You're 9 years old. That's worse than hiring the Gribbles fucking rip and tear crew to, weed your goddamn yard. It's like, yeah. It turns out my 9-year-old child can't paint a fucking house. Yeah, who fucking knew?
Because, like, there's, like, I know what you're probably thinking at home. There's not much painting house. Oh, no, there is. Like, if you're not doing the proper brush techniques and everything, because, like, you got to do multiple coats of this shit.
Yeah.
Then it's going to get fucked up. It's not going to set properly. Yeah. It's going to be all crooked or wonky or bubbles.
And, like, you're probably going to use way too much paint.
Yeah.
Because you'll go, okay, I need to paint it. And so you put it on thick rather than multiple coats.
I should have just filled up the fucking water soaker with it and just hose the side.
Yeah. It's not like, no, like house, we're not talking about like, oh yeah, you can paint your own bedroom or some shit. Where it's just, you let the kid go spastic with the fucking, whatever. Like, there's a reason this is a job done by fucking contractors.
Yeah.
And it's the job.
Yeah.
Like it's not like, oh yeah, I'm fucking Basil and I'll do everything. It's like, there's people who what do you do? We paint the outsides of houses.
That's it. That's all they do. Yeah. They're
this
the painter.
Is their deal. Yep. And it's like, they're like practiced fucking, professionals and not like a 9-year-old child. That is fucking, that I don't have a parallel for anything like that. I don't think I've ever seen an adult look at a 9-year-old and tell them to do something so fucking complicated. That clearly physically incapable of doing.
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
It's fucking great. Yeah, just, you know, install an extension while I'm out. Your mother and I are going to the movies. It'll give you about like 2 hours, including parking time. You know how that goes. Just you know, knock this wall through. You're gonna want to start with that. It shouldn't take you too long. I'm not asking you to run piping. That's fucking stellar. I just never gonna get past that. Ever been dumped
Oh yeah.
right before your wedding?
Oh no.
No, but like, you know, that was funny too. Just like, I mean, like, but by phase actions, she was looking to get out of that.
Oh yeah.
She was
Oh, dude. Like
desperate for an excuse.
the thing is, like through the series, there wasn't really much pushback from Faye apart from the Bronson thing. That was kind of it. Otherwise, she seemed pretty happy with Tony. And then it's like, I think no, there's a lot wrong with Tony Faye. You've really got to look here.
And I'm sure Bronson's fine in class when you can like threaten him with detention, and otherwise, there are a lot of sticks you can use to beat that particular ginger carrot.
Mm.
But like then you're just around it at home where it's indulged, and you have to deal with like just Bronson raw. And I don't think no one, no one's ready for that to make that choice. It's not a choice
No
a human
one
being
wants
can make.
the full Bronson. Yeah, I've been dumped many times. Been in lots of relationships.
I haven't been in many because I avoid them, much to some girls' frustration.
I do these days, but yeah. Back in the day, it was kind of like, I grew up
It's automatic.
missing a lot of stuff. So yeah, exactly. It was like, what do? You get with a woman. Okay, cool. And I was like, well, I lost this one. What do we do? Get another one. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's
If you
just,
spend more than 3 hours together, congratulations, in some kind of relationship.
yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, like, cause like of the few relationships that I've actual long-term relationships I've been in, I don't think I've ever broken up with any of them.
Mm.
But I mean, part of that's just like I don't expect to not be annoyed by a woman.
Yeah.
Like, and so I'm just like, oh yeah, okay, she's being insane, and then I just ignore it. It's just, So I'm just very placid when it comes to these things. It's just like,
Fair enough.
all right, you're gonna be, and like part of that is like I respect the fact that I'm a robot.
Yeah.
Because that's also been kind of a universal condemnation I've gotten from every woman I've been in a relationship with, and then some, of just you're some kind of robot. Like I had a old girlfriend yell at me once. You're the only person who constantly makes sense, and I'm like, that kind of that was one of those times where I'm just like, I kind of lost my temper a bit there, and like for me losing my temper just means like, and again this is the trap with like women is you can't match their emotional energy.
Mm.
But the problem is then they'll get angrier because you're not also having the same emotion they are. And it's like, well, one of us has to fucking be sensible, And then it's just like, oh, you're always making it. It's like, yeah, that's kind of important. Like, don't you think? Is that like the fucking, being rational might be fucking relevant. And again, because like, I'm the first person to dismiss my initial feelings and reactions to certain stimuli. Because again, if you have like depression and anxiety your whole life, you learn that these things can't be trusted just immediately.
Yeah.
And then, you'll deal with a woman going hysterical over some asinine bullshit, getting angrier because you're going, hey, have you thought maybe this was not a good read of the situation? It's like, now I've got two problems. And so, like, again, like, part of how I started is like, okay, this is just what this is going to be. It's not, you're an idiot if you think this is always going to be fun. There's going to be just times when they're annoying. So you just, okay, that's just part of this. That's fine. It's like there are times I just want to, drop kick my cat, but like, I don't. And I still, appreciate her presence.
Mm.
And, women are just giant cats. So, all right, that's fine. But then because, I'm a robot, eventually it's just like, all right, look, I don't think this is going to work. It's like, well, enjoy finding someone to aggressively argue back at you. I'm sure you're going to enjoy that, you fucking idiot. But even then, it's like, I don't like begrudge them anything.
Yeah, no. Well, that's the thing is like when you look at it, like the world is full of people, and every single person is so just radically different, even if they're very similar to other people. Like they're just everyone has their own personality, their own beliefs, everything, and it's just it is insane when you think about the concept of putting two people together for life.
Oh, dude, like it was never meant to be like this.
No,
We were
God,
meant to
no.
like fucking get together at the age of 14 and be dead by 25.
Yeah.
Like that makes sense.
Plant your seed, move on. Like that's
Well, even then, like
nature.
it's always the little things that make me think about like the because you're Christians and stuff will go, oh, don't you ever just see a sunset and be like, oh, don't you just want to thank God? And I'm
No.
like, no, because that's dumb. But every time I think about like really fucked up shit, I'm just thinking, man, that's an amazing prank. And like the idea that we have to cohabitate is so fucking funny, just for all these tiny little details. Like, because if it were anything big, then it just wouldn't work.
Yeah.
But like the way we feel temperature slightly differently is just guaranteed to cause conflict, but in such a subtle way. The slightly different perception of color, like periods. It's like this is hilarious. This is what I'd do to somebody if I wanted to fucking make their life miserable. And yet, it's just the cosmic comedy of something that just evolved this way.
Yeah.
And that fucking cracks me up. But yeah, ladies, if you're single and looking for someone who can put up with you when you're being a lunatic, then, hit me up.
I maintain that online dating's ruined everything. Dating apps are the most evil thing that humanity has ever introduced to this world.
I mean, I'm assuming there's got to be a slight plus side to it.
Oh, definitely. It's definitely it enables a lot more people just to get out there that usually wouldn't. But
Yeah.
on the flip side, you've got people people who are actually like attractive and stuff on these sorts of things, and it's like they don't have
Bastards.
they don't have to try, right?
I know.
They just
Yeah.
get people just swiping them, so they won't put any effort into any of their conversations.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's like I haven't used it yet, but I downloaded Bumble, and immediately I was just like suspicious of the attractive women.
that app has the most attractive women I have ever seen on
just
any
like-
app ever.
Because there's a certain, particularly a certain type where I'm just like, all right, this is a catfishing thing.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of them have verifications. So you've got to
okay.
verify yourself, and then you'll get a little thing.
Oh, that's
Like, for
interesting. I should look
example,
out for that.
on the one I'm on, which is her, which is a LGBT thing, I know if I get liked
with
by
one called fruit
liked by
salad.
an Asian woman who does not have a verification, she is fake.
Spam bot.
Yeah, 100%, because they all want to talk about crypto. They all want to talk off the app, on a different app like WhatsApp or something like that.
Yeah, no,
And it's
'cause,
like, look, you guys are fake. I know you're fake.
Yeah.
Fuck off. Because then 2 days later, I'll look at their account and it will be like
It's gone,
account
yeah.
deleted for breaking terms of service. And it's like, oh, look at that.
No, it's weird because like the same basic principle is true of like Gumtree, where you'll get messages like, "Hello, is it still available? Email me here." It's like, well, you can just talk to me the way you're talking to me now.
Yeah.
And it's like, because you're trying to like get my email address. So you
Like
can-
there are some people who are like would prefer to talk on Snapchat and other things, and I know why. It's to get around the payment things, because on a lot of these apps is either you don't see someone likes you unless you pay for it, or in the case of Tinder, if someone likes you, you get taken out of the like pool for them. So what that means is with you can't just ever coincidentally scroll upon someone who likes you, which is scum as fuck. And Tinder also charges more the older you get, which is just seems wrong. But here we are.
What if I look younger?
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
you
I
could
get
lie. You
Tinder.
could definitely lie about your age and stuff and get a lower fee. But
I can't lie.
No.
Because then the relationship's the woman's fault.
It's
and
built-
I need that.
it's built on lies. So.
Yeah. If I lie, then the whole thing is my responsibility. And I fucking can't even.
But yeah, back to my point about these dating apps is like I've liked from the period of being on these apps since breaking up, I have liked hundreds upon hundreds of people, and occasionally I'll have a conversation with someone and the conversation goes fucking nowhere. Even though, I'm being as interesting as I can, putting myself out there, asking the questions and everything, but you just get shit answers. And it's because they've got so many other people liking them that they don't have to try.
Yeah, my big problem is like, as somebody burdened with a personality, it's like, all right, I gotta ease people into this. Because
Well, that's
normally
yeah.
the problem is like I don't have actual dating skills because I did bar work in my 20s.
Yeah.
So like I can count like literally once, entirely in my life once, did I have a date with a human woman before sleeping with them. Which I don't know how to approach this.
Yeah, no, I get that. I've got really good that's the thing, I've got really good face-to-face sort of skills,
I
but
just feel like I'll
it
just,
doesn't translate well to these apps.
I just worry I'll go overboard straight away. And like again, there are lots of situations where I'm okay doing that,
Yeah.
but not ones that involve honest human feelings.
No, no, no.
Because I can punish the guilty, but I can't torture the innocent. And that's a very strict rule. And that's something I've had to learn over the years of it just turning out that I'm accidentally very good at torturing people.
Yeah.
It's just like, all right, you just got to keep an eye on this. All right. What's your favorite milkshake?
I don't like milk.
Well, that was fun. I
Um,
have a well, see, like I bought protein powder the other day that I wasn't looking, and they have the same packaging, which is kind of annoying.
mm.
So this was like a plant-based protein powder, which I don't normally get, and naturally I'm allergic to it because it uses probably the same.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that photo, yeah.
Yeah.
That
Fat
was
pussy
fucking
eyes.
nasty, dude.
Yeah. Fortunately, the stuff I ingested wasn't worse.
Mm.
It's just weirdly just the eyes, which is fucking allergies are weird. So then I had to go back and buy another $40 fucking worth of, proper whey protein. And because it's like, it's chocolate flavor. And that's nice because it's like, I don't usually eat a lot of chocolate.
Yeah.
So you get chocolate, then you get like, a scoop of ice cream and you have a milkshake out of that. And then that's breakfast.
I've had a few milkshakes over the years. Like I don't like milk, plain milk. Like I can't drink it. I struggle with it on cereal, but sometimes milkshakes are okay. I like caramel. My all-time favorite sort of milkshake was this sort of crunchy milkshake. And this shit was not healthy. This was really bad. And I'm not surprised I don't ever see these sorts of things on shelves anymore. And it used to get thicker the more you shook it.
Huh.
And it had little bits of crunchy in it.
Oh, like crunchy, the fucking actual chocolate. Okay.
Yeah. They had a crunchy one, they had a violet crumble one. There was a few different
I wonder how it got thicker the more you
flavors.
shook it.
I don't know, but it was like a heart attack. It was like drinking a heart attack, Because like you keep shaking it and you're like, fuck yeah, thicker.
I know. Because like immediately the thought is, okay, does this turn into a solid at some point? Like what if I bust into the Mitre 10 and put it in the paint mixer? Like, what do I get, if I do this?
Those were delicious, but I believe they had like probably around 80 to 100 milligrams of sugar in them.
I mean, aside from that, I am a sucker. Like my baseline thing is just that. Like I don't have a lot, but
yeah.
I'm a sucker for those old timey like American food joints that'll do like just these obscenity fucking, milkshakes. Because I love milk. I drink like a liter a day at least.
See, I like those because I can't tell it's milk anymore.
Yeah. There's like a pie in there somewhere. It's
like it's 90% ice cream
madness.
at this point, and it's like I like ice cream. That's fine.
All right, and we got a fucking. Oh god, got some stories from the depressing puddle of lunatics.
I'm scared we're gonna hear more Mexico stories. Like Mexico.
It's been a solid run of Mexico stories. All right. Hi, just want to say that as a fan of the good old 90s Australian TV and a fan of Round the Twist, your podcast brings a smile to my face. Keep up with your great work. Also, here's an interesting link to an old Paul Jennings document about making Round the Twist, writing scripts. The same channel now has photos of all the cast from then and now. Cheers.
Oh, interesting.
Right, well, that wasn't a question, but thanks.
Thank you.
I'll look at that later. That wasn't an answer. This isn't Jeopardy, Gabriel, as much as you'd like it to be. Dear Amber and Gabriel, the worst smell I can remember in recent times was at work a few years back. I work at a sorting depot for a well-known global courier, which is a physically demanding job. One day, I was stuck babysitting a new lad, and he made the rookie mistake that happens way too often. No deodorant. After a while, it started, and it was difficult to pretend I couldn't smell it. I was reminded of that scene from The Simpsons. I don't think a healthy man can make that kind of smell. Holy shit, you guys, I could literally taste it in the air. The animal I hate the most. I don't really want to use hate, as I have nothing against them, but I cannot look at octopuses. Like Amber, I have a fear of the deep ocean and of the terrifying things that dwell within.
It's a founded fear.
Yeah, like it's one of those things where it's like, I don't think you've got like nobody really has. You've got a phobia of sharks if you're worried about one getting you in the bath.
Yeah.
You don't have a phobia of sharks if you're in the water.
No.
You know, because like there's no. It's not an irrational thing to be afraid of an inky void full of mouths. You know,
No.
like that's just
Stop
that's
sending cunts into space when there's still parts of the Earth we haven't discovered. That's all I'm saying.
I want to know what's down there.
Yeah.
What's the biggest mouth? Because there has to be one.
Yep.
Has to be one. Hello, Gabe and Amber. I've been a fan for quite a while, and I'm glad I'm finally in a position where I can start better supporting the content creators that I enjoy, like you two.
Oh,
I've really
thank
enjoyed the
you.
vlogging stuff you all have been doing.
Thank you.
Best and worst birthday. I very rarely had events for my birthday. No one in my family really celebrates their birthday. My best birthday was my 17th birthday. It was me and 2 other friends at an arcade/laser tag/mini golf place. Ah, the Holy Trinity.
Oh man, I miss those places.
Most of the day was uneventful, but there was one part that I will never forget. The 3 of us were about to go in for a round of laser tag. It was going to be just us 3 since it was a weekday, and so the place was very quiet. Just before we went into the arena, a group of 10 to 15 children came over. I'd guess the oldest of them was 13. The attendant asked if we were all right with them joining us. We were, and thus spent the next 20 minutes hunting small children. The scores were actually somewhat close because while we were able to act as a team and actually plan things, they were small enough to actually hide in places, and they could see us over the chest-high walls. Also, there were a lot of them. Like, I think, like, you know, you versus 13 other things or like a, 10 to 15 other like fucking things in laser tag. That's just a numbers game. You're not going to win that.
It's because like your pack gets shut down. You get shot, it deactivates for a few seconds. So
Yeah.
it's like, well, if you got 13 cunts shooting you at once, you're screwed.
Yeah.
You know? You'll trade with one of them? Yeah, cool.
Yeah. And there's a dozen other. I mean, if I'm allowed to bring my laser mallet, then it's a different story, but
Fucking throw down a broken mirror, shoot the mirror, watch it refract off and hit them all.
they won't let me bring that no more.
Yeah, I don't blame them.
The worst took place when I was about the same age as the kids I had been hunting. That day was a
That's
comedy
good
of
sentence.
errors. I do, like, there is just something about hunting children. It's just a lot of fun. You know? Like, just to scare them, but, like, and
Yeah,
provided you know them. Like, not just stray children. It's why I want to be, like, a truant officer. Like, I just think that's the role I'm born for. The problem is I do myself out of a job by effectively creating a legend so efficient that it just terrifies children into ever leaving the class during school time. It'd be like the parents would come to pick them up early for a thing and they'd be like just terrified, like full, trying to drag him out of the fucking thing. It's like, no, he'll come.
Get us.
And I'm like already there playing music out of a little like turny box.
Fucking, you got the full on
Over the years
windmill
conditioned,
man
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
thing on your back.
Yeah.
I want one of those so bad, to be honest.
That's just the windmill janitor.
Yeah.
What? It was my first day at a new school, midway through the year, so everyone else had already gotten to know the other kids, and there was a class trip to a lion rescue/zoo. Where is this? It probably would have been better had my parents not paid the fee to let me go. So there I was on an hour and a half long bus ride with no one I recognized, no book or anything to distract me, and of course, no lunch. My parents thought that the school was providing food, but the students were supposed to bring one. So we get there and do a tour of the place on a shuttle. Then the class stops for lunch. One of the other kids shared some of his lunch with me, but I was still pretty miserable. Then the second half of the tour started, this time on foot. I'll admit it was really cool seeing these massive cats up close. We even got to hear one roar, which was great. What wasn't great was that same lion tried to get its scent on me. Excellent. Which lions do, either by rubbing his cheek on whatever he is trying to cover, or spraying the object with piss. I'm surprised I ever made friends at all after that day.
Oh, lion piss kid.
It's hard because if you get piss on you in school, you're piss boy.
The piss boy.
But it is lion piss, which is kind of like nuts.
That's pretty like top notch.
If you have to get pissed on by something.
Yeah, like if you were like, I got pissed on by a cat, you'd be like, oh, dude.
It's piss boy.
But it was a lion.
Yeah.
Holy shit. How close were you to this thing? Like there's an air of danger to lion piss.
Yeah. Like if you're close enough for a lion's penis to reach you with anything, that's dangerously
Clive
close.
Palmer pissed on me. What were you doing so close to him? How have you still got your hands? He usually bites anything off.
Worst smell. Surprisingly, not the lion piss. It is either a bag of potatoes that have been forgotten in my pantry for long enough to turn to liquid.
Oh!
Yeah, seen that. or the trash compactor from one of my jobs.
That reminds me, I gotta throw some potatoes out.
Yeah. The bag of potatoes sat in my pantry for who knows how long until I noticed a slight smell. I poked around until I stuck my finger into a potato and I felt liquid. I flinched and accidentally knocked the potatoes off the shelf and caused them to plop on the floor. Then I started vomiting. It took hours to get the smell out. The compactor is more run-of-the-mill. I'm not sure what got thrown down there, but you could still smell it throughout the whole store because the door was broken. Several of us had to go home because of the smell. Most hated animal. Ticks. Aside from the parasitic nature, I hate these things because I used to live in the American South, and they were everywhere.
Oh, shit.
The first time I encountered one, it bit me. It had anywhere in my body to bite, and the little fucker chose my balls.
Excellent.
Actually, on a testicle.
How does that even work? Because, like, they draw blood. And, like, there is blood in the testes, but I don't think there's that much.
You had a ticticle. I've hated the entire species ever since. That's fair. Yeah, I mean, who likes ticks?
No one.
You know, they're awful. They cause trouble.
I like the tick.
Yeah. Thanks for reading. Can't wait for the next episode. Spunk McCunkle.
Thanks, Spunk.
Hello again in the Twistine Chapel. That's solid. Props to you who've thought of that. My best birthday was when I turned 29. All right, that's going to be interesting. And a person I love very much told me he loves me. That's less interesting. For the first time. Not much fun to say about that. Well, you should have fucking led with that. My best birthday was not interesting. It's just personally fulfilling for you, you ballsack. We're here talking about being dumped and you're like, somebody loves me. Eat shit. My worst birthday was without a doubt the year I turned 30. Now we're getting somewhere. Now I am not a person who cares much for old
I love that's from
customs.
one year to the next complete swing.
I love you. Next year, you smell like poo. Now I am not a person who cares much for the old customs. Especially not when they are designed around humiliation. Like this. In Denmark, okie dokie.
Oh, is this gang?
It's
probably gang.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I know it.
In Denmark, if you have not married when you turn 30, people sometimes think it's okay to, quote, give you a pepper, end quote. This is exactly as dumb and irritating as it sounds. People cover you in pepper.
Fucking what?
Who? Like, this better be from, like, the 1700s or some shit. If this was something someone came up in the 50s, like, that's embarrassing. This is exactly as dumb and irritating as it sounds. People cover you in pepper. At first, I think it was, I thought it was going to be someone slips you like a chili in some of your ear or something. Like, not just covers you with pepper.
No, we're talking about, like, this, like, pepper.
I'm assuming, like
out of a grinder.
I'm assuming, like, powdered pepper that
Yeah.
you get at, like, the fucking supermarket. And not, like, fucking, I don't know, like cayenne or something. Because cayenne's dangerous. You can't cover a human being with cayenne pepper. It gets in their eyes and shit. Like, that's chemical warfare.
Yeah.
At first, I achieved a false sense of security when my youngest older brother threw a bag of whole peppercorns on me. See, that's okay. Before he left for home. Nothing too bad. I could cope with having a good old shake. But then, later on, as I was taking a walk with the rest of my family and we were about to turn and walk home, my oldest brother and brother-in-law each emptied about 250 grams worth of powdered pepper onto my head. I didn't take this well. At first, I stayed completely silent as I started to march away from them. I went back to my brother's home, at which we were staying from the night before, since my birthday is the day after Christmas. Grabbed my things and went to the very nearby train platform. I just wanted to leave without my presents and text them all later to fuck off. I was done with them. Long story short, an altercation was had and I somewhat forgave them from the utter assholery. Worst part for me was that I later in the bath discovered that washing powdered pepper out of your hair really fucking hurts. Huh. That's an interesting detail I don't think anybody would have hit upon otherwise. Thanks, the
Is it because
Dutch.
it goes into your eyes?
I don't know.
Like,
I had hoped this
or does it
story
just
would
irritate
be
the skin,
cathartic. I mean, irritate the skin possibly, or entertaining for me to recall, but honestly, it still just infuriates me. Worst thing I has ever smelled has got to be the stench of 14 to 20 decaying chickens in a sun-warmed dumpster writhing with maggots.
Oh, fuck, dude.
That's a doozy.
No. Ugh.
This was completely commonplace at the chicken farm where I used to pick eggs for a job. My most hated animal was my sister-in-law's Maine Coon, Sammy. Sammy was an incredibly thin, aloof cat with a shrill voice and annoying personality. Isn't that Maris from Frasier?
Yes.
One time my flat sat for my brother and his wife, main objective being to keep Sammy alive and fed. This would have been fine, but the cat got the idea that it shouldn't. On the day of the incident, I had just come back from school to see the hall covered in streaks of cat shit. I got to cleaning. Only after finishing did I notice how Sammy's tail was completely covered in shit as well. That's great. The little fucker had painted the hall herself. I got out the scissors. I thought I was done, but the following day I stepped on a bump on the hallway carpet. I lifted the carpet and saw that I had missed a huge shit stain under the carpet. To this day, I have no idea how the cat managed to get shit under the carpet in such quantities. I hated Sammy with all my heart, but I'm not exactly proud to say that I took a little glee in her death some years later, when my mother and I forgot to bury her for 2 weeks till the smell came wafting from around the house. Okie dokie.
Okay, I had to look up the Denmark thing, right?
No stories from that one Mexico trip this time. Probably in future, I'm sure.
And so it's tradition when you turn 25, if you are unmarried, it's customary in Denmark for your friends and family to cover you in spice. Danish man told the Telegraph that the tradition may date back hundreds of years to when spice salesmen would travel around and remain bachelors because they were never in one place long enough to settle down with someone. Many of these salesmen would never find a partner, would then be referred to as
Spicy
Herbers,
boys.
Peppersvans, which means pepper dudes. A single
Oh, I love
a
that.
single woman is thus called a pepper mo or pepper maiden.
That's fantastic.
This makes sense on your 30th birthday, where cinnamon gets upgraded to pepper. As we
cinnamon is the 25
cinnamon,
spice.
yeah.
Okay.
If they're feeling super mean, Danes sometimes add eggs to the mix because it helps with adhesion. Like, and there's like photos of like people tied to like,
Oh, holy shit.
yeah, like look at this
legit.
poor girl. Why Denmark? Why you like this?
The Germans are right.
Jesus. Like, because that's like, it's a tradition. Why? Oh, yeah, because of spice salesman. Cool. Are there still traveling spice salesmen in Denmark? Is that the number one profession in Denmark?
I feel like possibly.
Fuck it.
I do like the idea of Spice Maiden for an unmarried trollop. That's very funny to me.
Like 25 is pretty young too. Like,
That is, yeah.
fuck it out.
Like, at 25, I'd cover you for Spice for getting married because I think you've made a stupid life choice. Dear Gabriel and Amber, long-time listener, second-time caller. My very best birthday took place during grade school. The explanation requires a little background. I attended a Waldorf school until grade 9. Gabriel probably knows about Waldorf education. Yeah, it's a little bit weird. It is a holistic style of education that focuses on creativity, handicraft, and imagination, i.e., a hippie school. It was founded by an Austrian-German philosopher, spiritualist, and occultist. Unsurprisingly, they had some molestation issues as well. The idea of someone actually going to one of these schools is very funny. As one might expect, this approach to education can result in some of the most mean-spirited, spoiled, psychotic little shits imaginable. To give you an example, once one of the students ran up to a PE teacher, who happened to be his mother, tackled her, and started dry humping her. In front of the entire class. No, I'm not joking, and no, he wasn't a special needs kid. I hated my classmates and they hated me. Yeah. See, the thing about these, like, weirdo cult schools is, like, there's no one to report that to.
No.
You know, because you just report it higher up the cult, and no one wants their cult to be like the weird mum-humping cult, even if it is. So they're like, well, let's just not tell anybody about this.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, you're the mum-humping cult. You see, that's you deny the things you deny, the things you can't, problems you can't solve.
It's a slippery mum slope, you know?
It's a slippery mum.
Oh, yeah, this is our tradition where we grease up the mum and you have to try to dry hump her.
Yeah.
But she's really greasy, so she just slips out of your grip.
Yeah, you pay, and it's for the PTA, for our fucking weirdo fucking school. One birthday, my parents really went all out. We rented a ton of carnival games. Jesus Christ. Ring toss, skee ball, lollipop trees. Don't know what that is.
What the fuck
Balloon
is
dart
a
games,
lollipop
and
tree?
reserved a spot at a private swim club. Suddenly, surprise, everyone in my class wanted to be my friend. The party itself was fun, but the real joy came from all those wretched homunculi exhausting themselves to carry my favor the week prior. Yeah, fair enough. Needless to say, they went back to treating me like shit afterwards, but for one glorious week, I was their king. My very worst birthday took place on 2001. Did I mention I am American and my birthday is September 12th?
It's unfortunate.
I mean, my dad's birthday is September 11th. Like, I was talking to him on the phone, watching, like, American Today on, like, Channel 9, like, when the second tower was hit. I remember saying to Dad, that one looks a little close. Just thump. That's funny, though, because you're American, and that was the day after, and nobody would have given a shit.
Oh, yeah, 100%. It's like how, the fucking what's his face? Guy who played Jaws in James
Oh,
Bond.
yeah,
He
yeah. I can't
died a
remember
few
his
days
name.
after 9/11.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, because like I didn't know he died. Like, why would you? Like,
What's his
deaths
name?
would have
Richard
just gone
something. Yeah.
past because it's like, well, something else
Yeah,
has
there was
kind
a
of
few
happened.
things like that actually. Like the guy who played Egg from Big Trouble in Little China. I think he died around the same time
Mm.
too. Looking that up, I was like, I wonder what's going on. I'm assuming he's dead because he looked like 1,000 years old in Big Trouble in Little China.
Richard Keel, that's the guy who
Keel,
played
that's it.
Jill
Yeah, 'cause I knew it
Jaws.
was Richard, but my brain kept going to Richard Kind, who was
Oh
not
wait,
Richard.
no, fucking, he died on September 10th,
That's still close
2014.
enough.
Like that's the day before.
Yeah. I mean, these
Man,
days though, like, you know, it's 20 years. No one cares. You know,
yeah.
like they were making fucking JFK jokes in TV shows in the 80s in America, and that's 20 years after the man got his head, blown off on
Mm.
TV. Like, we're up to the point now, getting some 9/11 jokes in mainstream. As for the very worst thing I've ever smelled, I've worked at a chemistry lab, so it's hard to pick just one. The stench that stands out is beta mercaptoethanol. Beta mercaptoethanol. Think burning rubber tires and then double it. Huh.
Mm.
There's also tetramethylethylenediamine, or TEMID. Not so much bad as distinctive. Sort of like raw, wet fish that's starting to turn bad. Now you crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentations of their women. Yeah, chemistry would be an interesting one. You're just going to get some, like, distinct, I think.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Dear Homer Morton and Lisa Costello, hello once again. If you don't remember, I'm the fuckwit that screeched Britney Spears into a microphone in school as a small child. And, like, have felt like this once again, I. Huh? And like felt have once again this I. I did
Lordy,
read that right the first time. I thought I had a stroke.
I thought you did too.
Best birthday. Easily my 12th birthday, which would have been 2005. I got the original fat Nintendo DS.
Let's
Kirby Canvas
go.
Curse, Mario 64 DS, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Nightmare Troubadour. I wasn't prepared for Nightmare Troubadour.
Nightmare Troubadour is one of the most insane game names ever.
Like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Was very much after my time and has just always looked like ridiculous nonsense. Like, the character himself looks like one of those things that someone draws from, like, the Western try-to-draw anime books. Like, it just looks ridiculous.
100%, yeah.
So Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm familiar with. Nightmare Troubadour, wasn't expecting. This was in addition to my sister coming to visit us where we lived with my infant niece. It was a great day all around. Worth birthday would probably be one the many times that I was sick as a dog on the day of, which happened a lot as a kid, but really nothing to write home about. Worst smell. The smell of an elderly person's bedside commode that I had to clean for a few years.
Ooh.
Most hated animal. I haven't had any conflicts with wildlife with Amber getting swooped or as a kid or Gabe having a goat scrap with his brother. The worst I have is maybe insects, which I just broadly feel unbridled hate for, especially spiders and fucking stink bugs. Take care, you two. Love the content. Experience the cock. All right.
Sure.
I mean, I saw a stink bug shit on a friend of mine and then bite him once. That was pretty
That's
funny.
funny.
Yeah. That was a good day. That was a fun lunch break. Because you could smell it the whole next math class.
Oh, yeah, no, fucking foul.
Yeah, it was on his fucking neck.
Oh, that's
Fucking great.
unfortunate.
And like, stink bug stink really is, it's in that chemical quality. Where it's like, it's not the same as like, oh yeah, this is a fucking dumpster full of sun-roasted maggot chickens. It's just like, this is wrong.
It's an unpleasant smell that's not going away in a hurry.
Yeah,
Like,
it does not. Last one. Hello, Gabriel and Amber. I hope you're doing well. My most hated animal is probably cockroaches. It sounds like an obvious answer, but where I live tends to be hot most of the year, and roaches are pretty much a given until it starts getting cold. I often have to kill roaches in my house with various assortment of blunt objects and boots. There's
Have you
sometimes
tried giving them beer like in Joe's apartment? They might be your friends.
they might sing little musicals for you.
Yeah.
There's sometimes I have been a bit more creative and used my swords or a BB gun. Okie dokie.
I would like to see a full-sized adult man stab a cockroach with like just a fencing saber, you know?
It'd be tricky. I mean,
Yeah.
that'd be good practice for poking with
Oh,
your fencing
definitely,
saber,
yeah.
I think. Like, I mean, the BB gun, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't recommend using a BB on roaches. They fucking explode. I don't know, man. I got a vacuum. That sounds like fun. Worst smell is probably the potatoes and onions I had left under the sink in college. And had grown moldy for ages without me realizing. Under the sink's an interesting place. It was hard to do a lot of cooking in the dorm, fair enough, so I often did basic foods and didn't bother using potatoes or onions. Upon discovering them, I was hit with a pungent whiff that sent me back. I ended up finding a piece of cloth to put on my face. It didn't help much. And plastic gloves when I tried to dispose of them. I was done with the smell that when I found the big container outside where all the trash goes, I chucked it in with all my might. I had spent the next little bit smelling more pleasant things just to get over it. My best birthday was probably when my friend threw me a surprise birthday party when I was 17. It's the only surprise birthday I have ever had. My dad woke me up on my birthday and said he needed help with something from work. Even though it was my birthday, I didn't really question it and went to a local outdoor mall near my house. He ended up leading me to a restaurant where all my friends were waiting. It was quite a shock, and I had a really pleasant time there. Which is funny because I didn't even like the restaurant they had picked, and that I didn't even question why my dad was leading me to a restaurant to begin with. I guess I was still tired from having been woken up. My worst birthday was probably when I was 5 or 4, and I had wanted a cake with African animals, in particular lions and elephants, and when we went to the cake store, that's what we ordered, as they had a couple of themed options. When I finally got my cake, it turns out instead they gave me a cake with farm animals. I ended up crying and refusing to eat it for being robbed of my precious African animals. Looking back on it, it's rather funny, but I'll never forgive them for fucking up my cake. Sorry for the long email, I just had a lot to say.
That wasn't very long.
Yeah, but by the standards so far, it wasn't very long. I do love the idea of like that. That's such a little kid thing to do. I want a lion. Here's a sheep. Tantrum. Like, it's a cake. Yeah, but it's the wrong animal, so fuck it.
Tastes the same. No, it doesn't. Lions taste better.
I mean, yeah, you could convince a child of that relatively
Yeah.
easily. Like, I'm gonna guess lion meat doesn't taste very good.
Probably not.
Yeah, but like, I mean, yeah, cake's a cake. There's no lion flavor. I mean, unless lion flavor was like honeycomb or something.
Ooh.
I don't know why my brain went there, but I also believe that to be lion flavor. If lions had a flavor, it'd be honeycomb.
So I just think of paddle pops because it's paddle pop lion.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I think of specifically banana paddle pops. I don't know why.
That is a
I
little
guess it's
weird.
because it's yellow, kind of. So like more lion colored.
Yeah. I mean, again, because of the coloring, I tend to lean, like a gay time. Because the crumbs would be
Oh
like
yeah,
the main,
yeah.
it's a
I
very
see that.
liony ice cream.
And lions obviously are very homosexual. So
Yeah. Well, they had that one gay lion couple in Africa. And some guy said it was because, like, tourists were, like, demonstrating a bad influence or something. Which I do.
Fucking what?
Yeah, I do love trying to explain away gay lions with the idea that, like, gay couples have been boning in front of your
Yeah.
lions.
The lion's like, hey, I want to try
In an
that.
educational capacity, like,
Yeah.
that's gonna work.
That's insane. That's funny.
There's nothing quite just as unfucking coupled from reality as like African homophobia. Because there are areas of that place where you'll fucking kidnap a fucking albino child because it has magic ingredients. It's like then you got to try and explain homosexuality to these people. It's like, man, I wouldn't have better luck with some of the good in the mutants, but like they wouldn't be as socially supported.
Yeah.
Which doesn't give you an in, but at least lets you put them somewhere you don't have to ever think about them. Until they fucking drape a bedsheet over a fucking overpass. All right. So that wasn't so depressing. I think giving them smells to talk about was a clever idea. But if you ever want to burden us with your horrifying personal thoughts and feelings, the email is, like the thing can come up, I have felt like this at yahoo.com, all lowercase, all one word. And the questions that you're answering this week are, diddly, fucking load, you bastard. There we go. Have you had any experiences with sleepwalkers or sleep talkers? Have you ever fucked up doing yard work or have any interesting yard work stories? Has your bitch ass ever been dumped? And what's your favorite milkshake? That's a little light one.
You know what upsets me is every time you say at Yahoo, I just think of at yahooseries.com. And yahooseries.com is a website.
Yeah. It's his website.
It's his website. It's still up.
I'm amazed
And
it's up.
like, for example, warning, yahooseries.com is for external use only. If while using this site your computer is accidentally swallowed, you should immediately unplug it from its electrical socket before seeking professional medical advice. Save whales, win valuable prizes. What?
I guarantee he wrote that joke literally in the 90s.
I'm going to click the fucking win valuable prizes. Where's my prizes?
That's a bad life decision.
Whales mating in front of the Sydney Egg Opera House. What?
Yeah, he had another movie but it was about a guy that was obsessed with eggs,
What you doing, Charlie?
which just seems odd.
Yeah, and then he's got a list of Australian big stuff. Big Egg Opera House, Big Banana, Big Prawn, Big Golden Guitar, Big Oyster,
That website has not been updated
Big
in a long
Apple,
time.
Big Mosquito, Big Avocado, Big Potato, Big Pineapple, Big Bottle, Big Bull, Big Cheese, Big Macadamia, Big Rock, Big Rocking Horse, Big Trout, Big Windmill,
You notice
Big
none of these are
Yabby,
like big reason to
Big
live here.
Cow, Big Lobster, Big Merino, Big Orange, and Big Peanut. Why is YahooSerious.com still a fucking website up?
I want to turn Yahoo Serious into Australia's cryptid. Like, I like the
Mm.
idea of like Yahoo Serious lives under your bed. He's able to navigate the underbed dimension.
Free replacement film with every serious motion picture. All you have to do is fully finance one of Yahoo's movies and you'll receive a free replacement film. Budget must exceed 50 million. Add another 50 million if you want it in color.
I got about $10.
You did not do very well at school and neither did your lawyer. You agree not to hold anyone's mother responsible for anything no matter what. This agreement is legally binding throughout the universe, including within any black hole. Is he alive?
That's the mystery
What is he doing?
That's the mystery we're gonna leave you with today. Remember, I have felt like YahooSerious.com. God damn it, now you got me doing it. Do you have any experiences with sleepwalkers or sleep talkers? Have you ever fucked up doing yard work? Have you ever been dumped? And if that makes you sad, what's your favorite milkshake? I am Gabriel Sirius. Spelt like the star.
And I'm Amber Serious. And we hope you have a Yahoo Serious fucking day.
Yahoo Serious.
Bye.